Christmas is that special time of year when you cuddle under a blanket and play some video games. So I've decided to review... Who is it? Hey buddy. So, funny story. Christmas is over. You missed it. What? Sorry. So after weeping pathetically for several hours, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna make a Christmas video anyway. And what's more Christmassy than Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, The Crystal Bearers? Which, if you think about it, isn't Christmassy. Like, at all. The story begins with a luxury airship called the Alexis being transported safely to its destination by our hero, Leo. Unfortunately, it gets attacked by a walking suit of armor called the Uke, who absorbs all the ship's fuel into a weird crystal thingy, forcing you to use your expert driving skills to make a crash landing and save the day. Whoops! After a perfectly executed landing, you arrive in the city of Alphateria, where you're given a chance to flex your muscles a bit. Now Leo is a crystal bearer, which means that he has a magical ability. What this means for Leo is that he can levitate objects and enemies and throw them as a means of attack. I found it very entertaining that he could lift up people as well. I totally abused this freedom by mugging the elderly, throwing people off ledges, and smashing market stalls. Jeez, with all the vandalism going on, Leo ought to get together with Link for a root beer. When Leo finally finishes wreaking havoc all across the city, he runs into a girl named Belle who's running away from the police. She decides to drag Leo into it, and the police try to arrest him for obstruction of justice. So apparently, having a crook hide behind you is downright illegal, yet vandalizing stores, stealing money, and picking fights with old women on subway trains are perfectly acceptable pastimes. Well, whatever. Leo escapes with Belle and your adventure begins. The game will have you traveling across beautiful landscapes as you progress through the story. Every now and then, you'll come across an area with a portal called the Miasma Stream, which releases monsters. This is where the combat kicks in. It mainly has you throwing random objects at enemies with your powers, or tossing them around. It may sound simple and dull, but I found it surprisingly fun. And if you play your cards right, you can even use some of the enemies' abilities to your advantage. After you kill off all the enemies in an area, you have to close the Miasma Stream, and be rewarded with either an extended health bar or a material that you can use to craft equipment. Speaking of equipment, you can craft a wide variety of necklaces, rings, and other items to boost your stats using all the bizarre materials you find on your journey. Though, the only stats I found worth working on were throwing range and attack power. Still, it allows for a bit of customization, and a little extra boost in stats never hurts. A lot of the scenarios in the game are played out via QuickTime events, which make use of the Wii's motion controls. Like the game's opening, for example, where the Alexis gets attacked. You get to freefall through the air shooting monsters by aiming with the Wiimote. Unfortunately, the batteries in it died while I was recording, so here's a little footage of Leo falling helplessly through the air. Most of the dialogue in this game is voiced, and I have to say that the voice acting is pretty good. Though, I thought Leo's voice actor sounded like he was trying too hard sometimes. And the way he says "wahoo" sounds so awkward. Wahoo! If you want to take a break from adventuring, there's plenty of extras to keep you occupied, from playing a rather extensive list of mini-games to just interacting with the locals. Or, if you're like me, harassing them. I am a terrible person. This game does have a few issues, unfortunately. For starters, the camera could be a bit twitchy in certain places. There were some frame rate issues, which was really aggravating. The motion controls didn't always respond correctly, and plus I thought the game was too short. But overall, I really enjoyed it, and I think you will too. I give this game a well-earned Merry Christmas out of 10.